the Mahoning Valley Daily Podcast.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to this Friday episode of the Mahoning Valley Daily Podcast. It is December 3rd, and I'm your host, Ron Cabuno. Thank you very much for tuning in. We're just going to have a really short show for you guys today so that you can get on your way with your holiday season weekend. Probably going to be a lot of Christmas tree lightings, hopefully Santa sightings, and maybe even a couple trips to Cranex or Boardman Park or the Canfield Fairgrounds in your future. Maybe even a little of that mulled cider. But first, just a little bit of news of the day before you're on your way. So I don't know if you guys have heard about this, but there were a boatload of horses that were let loose on Mahoning Avenue from a horse farm, and it caused a lot of trouble earlier this week. 4 of them out of the, I think, 13 that got loose had to be killed or were involved in traffic accidents that sent people to the hospital. This was an absolutely wild scene, and the body cam footage from the officers who went to try and corral these animals has been released. So go check out that video because you don't see that too often. Also, 2 really weird robbery stories, one true and one not. One, a guy is arrested for stealing over $7,000 worth of cigarettes out of the back of a truck from the BP station on Mahoning Avenue. Now, if this doesn't scream Goodfellas, I don't know what does. But he didn't make it very far, and from what I can gather, he probably didn't even get to smoke that many before he was caught. Gotta be a little smarter than that, dude. And the other one, well, this one's kinda sad, because this involves a woman who apparently is suffering from stage 4 cancer and faked a robbery at an ATM in Boardman. Miss Kim Armstrong is charged with making false alarms, a first-degree misdemeanor, and obstructing official business, a second-degree misdemeanor, because she said that she was walking out of an ATM on Market Street when she was being pushed to the ground. Someone grabbed her purse and took her money, took $400. But when they went to review the security cam footage, it showed that she didn't take anything out of the ATM. She rolled around on the ground and threw dirt on herself to make it look like, to make it look like she had been robbed. I mean, this is absolutely insane. I don't know what she was planning on getting and gaining out of this. When she was asked for a statement, she said it was out of pure desperation. I feel really bad for her. Sounds like she might need a little bit of help, not just monetarily, and I do hope that she gets it. But, this did cause some concerns. The police chief there said that he was really worried, obviously, that if this was a true thing, he didn't want this same suspect to go and do the same thing a couple blocks down the road. So completely understand why she does have to face the consequences of her actions, but a really, really bizarre story. I guess that just it's another reason why if you know somebody who might be a little needy this time of year, not exactly making ends meet, or might be just isolated, please reach out to them. Tell them, hey, how about if I pick up your groceries this week? Or, maybe you can come over for dinner, and that would alleviate one meal from your budget. Anything you can do. This is the season of giving. It gets really dark, and I get really tired and grumpy and depressed, and I know I'm not the only one. So just assume that the person next to you probably does too, and see if you can lend a helping hand. And then finally, we have a couple national stories. The one, which was really, really hilarious, was apparently Tucker Carlson is more of a POS than you even realized. Because, as it turns out, and as was reported a couple months ago, he's really good friends with Hunter Biden. If you didn't know that already, I didn't stutter, it's not a typo, and it's not fake news. These two are homies. And it just goes to show you how deplorable and how craven and how just sick with power this guy is, because he gets on and essentially badmouths the entire Biden family every night on TV. And yet, he asked Hunter Biden to help get his kid into a school. That's how close these guys are. I couldn't even imagine being that two-faced. Really, really sick. Lastly, Antonio Brown, obviously formerly of the Pittsburgh Steelers and now of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, got his butt in a vice this week because he was found to have faked his vaccine cards. This guy is making millions of dollars and still wants to endanger people just because he doesn't want to go through a couple extra steps. The NFL doesn't mind if you're not vaccinated. It doesn't mind if you have a bat-esque crazy excuse for it, or you might actually have a valid medical excuse for it. They say, that's cool, you just have to wear the masks and stay away from people in certain circumstances. That was too much for this dude, so he went and got a black market card, essentially endangering anybody that he comes in contact with because he's that much more transmissible of a high level of disease and is walking around under the auspices of being vaccinated. Well, they found that out, as well as 2 of his teammates, and he is facing a 3-game suspension, which he took without any protest. Matter of fact, he said that he went and got vaccinated once he found out how much trouble he was going to get in if he ever got caught, which he eventually did. Not a cool move. I wish he was out for the rest of the season because that is Bush League, but the NFL Players Association obviously had lesser fines in mind for this type of infraction. Well, I think I hear my wife and kids coming in, and it's time to go have some dinner. So you guys have yourself a great weekend, and we'll see you next week with more Mahoning Valley Daily Podcast.